Yeah, we'll start now. And thank you very much for joining. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to our monthly report, monthly presentations on market. We give here 360 view of the markets, what we expect in coming series. Uh, all aspect from fundamental point of view, technical point of view, and even derivative point of view. And we also recommend few stocks in this oral presentations for your investment and trading. So this is what the agenda is for today. There are market outlook, and then fundamental stocks will be recommended. Then there will be a technical outlook, and technical stock will be recommended. Then there will be a derivative outlook, and there will be derivative stocks which will be, or strategy will be recommended. Thereafter we will have a session for Q&A. Whatever the questions you have, we can try to answer that. So coming back to fundamental outlook. So in the last 1 month, what we had seen that the Nifty continued to outperform, or even Indian market continue to outperform most of the developed market and even the emerging market, and more so with the emerging market, as the emerging market were under some pressure. Uh, if you see this outperformance is driven by two reasons. One, we are seeing some economic revival in some part of the economy, and we are also seeing a lot of domestic money which is supporting our Indian market. So whatever the excess selling which has happened from the FII side got absorbed by uh, domestic money. Uh, e- Even during the last month, we saw that there were some disruption in China, wherein Chinese, one of the second largest player of in the real estate, and quite big in size of around $300 billion. So that got some financial trouble, and market had feel at that time some turbulence. But what we had even in the course of time presented that this is more of a local centric event, and that played out that way. The the event remained concentrated towards China only, and not yet impacted the world market immediately. Though in future it may have some impact on the economic growth point of view, because real estate form big part of their GDP of the China. So if there is a decline in GDP, real estate sector over there, then it will feel the heat of the same on different part of economy and overall development of the Chinese growth. Apart from that, even we had seen quite a few other problem like power shortage leading to various industry getting shut down. And also there were some cases of even the residents also, or the general power also being cut in China. So that problem also led to a lot of commodity prices moving up very sharply. This we feel is more of has happened mainly because of few regions which has happened in China. One of the reason was that around 9 province went into red zone of power consumptions. Their planning commission has fixed a limit of the power generation and utilization for the power plants and all. And the generation were over exceeded by all these power plant what was indicated for the quarter. So they have to shut down the power plant because of that, and that has ended on 30th September. Now from 1st October, the new limit will come. So all these power plant which were into red and got closed down and created a havoc, I think will now be out of that, and will not be having that type of problem which was there in last 10 days. So that I feel is more was a temporary reason and should also get resolved. And apart from that, there are some other issues which are more of a structural in nature for China, and that are leading to a lot of coal prices increase in the world. So that will continue. So the problem to some extent of excess has been resolved, but the continuation of problem which was there will take some time to resolve it. Apart from that, the another crucial development what we feel need to be watched for the near term is on the Fed account. See, Fed was always giving the statement that uh, the inflation is transitory. Uh, what do you mean by inflation is transitory? They were indicating that this inflation has come because of disruption in supply chain because of COVID, and as the supply chain get resolved, the inflation will also cool off. But recently, Fed has given some different indication that the transitory nature of inflation will continue even in CY22 as well. So that is bit concerning, as Fed is expecting that this inflation, higher inflation of around over 5%, whereas their target inflation is around 2%. So there is a big gap in the inflation, what is there and what is expectation. So this is creating some concerns in the mind of the market player, because now Fed is looking at this inflation in different way and may take some actions to cool it off. So there are two scenarios. Either what Fed expect these prices to cool off happens, or Fed take some action to cool off these prices. If you see the commodity prices, mostly energy prices has increased by around 60 to 200% in as compared to pre-COVID level. So pre-COVID level, if suppose prices was say 10, now the prices are uh, somewhere around anywhere between 160 to 300. So because of this, uh, there are two scenarios, like if the commodity price come down or Fed takes some actions. So in both the scenario, if even if Fed takes some actions apart from the normal tapering which they are talking, then also market may see some negative impact on the equity market. And even if the commodity prices which are at a very high level, they start correcting, then also it can have a negative impact on the equity market. So in both the scenarios, the things are becoming bit dicey, and one need to be very careful in this type of scenario. Quite possible this may not pay out in just 10 days, 15 days or 1 month, because these are always a long cycle. So quite possible Fed may take action in say like 3 months, but market will start factoring it in well in advance. So what we say here is that from here, one need to be very careful in the investment in the equity market from here. Apart from that, the another thing which is happening right now is there are commodity prices are moving, are trading very high. If you see not only coal prices or oil prices, if you take say price of cotton, which was at around $60 at international level, is right now over $100. Even if we take acetic acid prices, the prices has increased by almost 300% as compared to pre-COVID level. So all these costs which has increased need to be passed on to the consumer. And what we are seeing right now, there is corporates are facing some difficulties in passing on these prices to customers. So that can have an impact on the profitability, or they impact the increased prices is impacting the demand. So these high commodity prices, though are continuing, are likely to have impact on the corporate result as well. So that also will put some pressure on the corporate performance in the coming quarter, where the margin may see some decline. So that is quite visible in if we see this quarter result, it will be visible in cement. It will be visible in auto. It will be somehow visible in pharma space as well. So what we see that in the coming quarter, that is starting from for the September quarter, second quarter results, whenever it will be coming, we will see positive trend in sector like IT, oil and gas, telecom, some metals, financial and FMCG. Whereas there will be some negative impact on cement stock, auto stock, pharma stock also. So the result maybe this quarter will be more of a mixed bag, not a clear-cut winner like what we had seen in March quarter post lockdown. So overall, what we see that market may see some corrections along with world market, but apart from that, what we are seeing is the domestic flow is quite strong. So that will keep on supporting the Indian market. If you see, apart from the flow which is coming in mutual fund from SIP and normal investment, there is a big flow which is coming directly. Still, account opening is over 20 lakhs per month. So if suppose a customer bring in say 50,000 rupees, then overall in a month additional money from the additional people who are coming into the market will be over 10,000 crores. And apart from that, the people who had come earlier also bring in additional money. So the money flow from the domestic side is quite strong, and this will keep on supporting the market on any decline. So what we expect that Nifty to remain in a range of 17,200 to 17,800. And one should be very careful in the mid cap and small cap stocks, mainly because the impact on result there could be higher than the company in the large cap stock. So that is all from me. Now I request Jehan to talk about the company.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So the first fundamental pick for this month is Can Fin Homes. You all might have heard this name during the last decade. The company has transformed really well despite of being a PSU. So it is promoted by Canara Bank. It's a housing finance company. Now, if we look historically how company has evolved, initially it was mainly operating from the south of India around the Bangalore region. Then it gradually branched out outside of south. So initially mainly it was catering towards the suburb areas of metros and tier 1 cities. Now over last 5 years they have decided that they will grow aggressively into tier 2, 3 and 4 cities as well, because there the competition is much lesser from large banks. Average ticket size for the company is just 20 lakhs compared to, let's say, 31 lakhs in case of HDFC and more than 30 lakhs for majority of the banks. So if we see the target customer is slightly different. Banks typically do not chase these low ticket sizes, let's say loans below 20 lakhs. Banks would want to utilize their energy and high cost branch layout to cater to higher ticket home loans. So if we see the overall overlap between Can Fin and banks, so the overlap of customers is just 15%, which are common in terms of ticket sizes. So largely it is customer profile is slightly different. If we see the hallmark of Can Fin over last decade, it has been its asset quality, which has consistently been below 1%. It has never crossed the 1% mark, gross NPS. Even if we look at the latest quarter, it was the June quarter where almost all financial companies witnessed deterioration in gross NPA. Can Fin's GNPA was constant at 0.9%. Even if we look at macro headwinds like what happened in last few years, like demonetization or COVID, it has stood the test of times. The couple of main reasons for this is that company is mainly focused in housing loans, which is core housing loan, which is 90% of its loan book. Even in case of HDFC, if we see, then this portion is just 66%, and they are also into developer loans and loan against property. Whereas for Can Fin, 90% is core housing loans, and loan against property and home improvement loans are just 10% of the mix. It largely focuses on salaried segment. So salaried customer mix is around 73%, self-employed is 27%, and the company does not rely on cash flow based analysis. I mean, it mainly relies on the documented income. So whatever is in white that is disclosed by the customer to the tax authorities, it relies on that information, and it does not rely on the whatever cash income that is there of the customer. So that is one more from a safety aspect, one more positive point. Now, why just now we recommend to buy this stock? Mainly from demand side, we are seeing that there is likelihood that growth will come back for Can Fin. If we focus on three different points of view, vantage points from let's say first one being real estate companies, we are witnessing that over last couple of quarters of commentary, if you hear all the real estate companies, most of them are saying that they will be doubling their sales over next 4 to 5 years, and they are witnessing a revival in sales over last few quarters. Second, if you focus on IT companies, what is happening on the attrition side, on the salary hike side, we keep hearing since last few months that the demand is very strong from IT, and many people are getting huge hikes, especially in and around areas like Bangalore, which is the hub for IT, and where Can Fin also operates. That is the headquarter. Bangalore forms around 30% of its loan book. So naturally, this company will benefit from this kind of environment in IT sector. And lastly, the management of the company has recently said that they should be growing at 18 to 20% by the end of the year. From current in June quarter, their loan growth was at just 7%. So, so from all these three points of view, we feel that growth is growth should increase from here on. And if you look at the valuation also, it is from a forward book value perspective, it is trading at 2.2 times September 23 book value. Book value is around 300 rupees. So as per our assessment, it should trade at least 3 times its book value, and we arrive at a target of 900 rupees. Current stock price is around 670 odd rupees. So it's a decent upside from here. If we look at if we go back a bit in past, during previous bull run, the 2016-17, where real estate was doing okayish, it was not a very good scenario even that time, but company used to outpace the industry growth, and that time it used to grow at 25-30% loan growth. And during that time, company used to trade at even 4 times forward price to book value. So we have been reasonable in giving it 3 times just now. If the scenario really improves, then we can revisit the target price going forward. So that's it from my side. I will now hand over to Runjhun.
Thank you, Jian. So this time we are covering India Glycols. That's a green chemistry based company. When I say green chemistry or green technology, it means that the raw materials what they're using is all natural products like molasses and ethyl alcohol. And also the carbon footprint is something very low, and they're trying to make new products from that carbon output, whatever is limited what they're releasing in the environment. So this is a new trend we are seeing in the market, that people are getting more conscious about the environment. That is we are seeing in China also, and since last 4 or 5 years they have become very conscious about the environment and been closing down very polluted chemical companies, that has benefited our whole industry, chemical, specialty chemical industry, and we are seeing that it is impacting and benefiting us. Now with this China One policy, we are seeing that companies are moving and putting up more focus on India because it offers all the skills and the cost benefits as compared to other part of the world. Also, we have seen the recently that Reliance chairman, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, has put up so much focus on that chemicals and green chemistry, and that is why they have given a long-term target of achieving zero emission and zero carbon footprint. So this is all doing very well, and we believe that this is one of the leading companies in this technology, in this space, and I've been pioneer in that. So it's an old company doing dealing in this space. Their revenue is mainly divided into three categories. One is bio-based industrial chemicals. That is the major revenue, coming 73% of the total pie. Then is the potable spirits, because that is a byproduct and they're getting more focus on in this space. This contributes around 22% of their overall revenues. And last is the nutraceuticals. It is also known as N-Nature Biopharma, which is just the 5%. It is still at the nascent state, but it is picking up. Recently, we have seen that the company has done a JV with Clariant. What they're doing into is, in this JV, IGL, that is the India Glycols, and Clariant is coming together, and Clariant would hold the 51% stake in this JV, and IGL would transfer and has transferred its renewable bio EO derivative business, which has sales of around 670 crores, and IGL has got 646 crore for selling 50% stake to Clariant in this, out of which 451 crores they have got upfront, and the rest would get in 3 years. So the technology is brought up by IGL, and Clariant would be taking it to the global footprint, because they have a vast distribution network and it's a global company. So the reach what they have is something beyond what the IGL can for both the players. So this is something we are very positive on. And what other thing what they're doing, like I talked about the Carbon Smart, is something they're helping the other companies, other manufacturing companies, to reduce their carbon footprint, and whatever the carbon, even the output would be there, they're making smart products from that. That is where the Carbon Smart products. For this, they have also tied up with the Unilever PLC, and Unilever has formed a company with 3 companies. So one is Unilever, one is IGL, and one is a Chinese company, wherein Chinese companies were getting this technology, and IGL would be supporting them. So this is another global agreement and a global deal they have done. This shows that the IGL's capabilities, because they are able to bring the technology which is exciting at global players, not even Indian players. Like I was talking about the potable spirits, the company is venturing into branded liquor, and in line of this, they have launched new brands in IMFL. They are also planning to infuse more premium products in this space. In N-Nature Biopharma, the company manufactures plant-based products and nutrition products, which are an alternative for the chemical drugs, which we are seeing that people don't want to continue for long. So this is something very positive for them, because the trend is going towards naturopathy and natural products. Going forward, the company is looking to invest around 400 to 500 crores over 2-3 years. Out of this, 300 crores is earmarked for manufacturing 2 grain-based distilleries, and wherein they're expecting 2x ATR, that is 2 times of this capex they are expecting in revenues and with 100 crore PBT. In terms of financial performance, the company last 2 years performance was impacted due to COVID-related disruptions. However, post this Clarion deal, we have seen that company is coming back on track. Also, a new CEO, Mr. Rupak Saraswat, has joined from Croda, and which is an global company, and he has joined in December, and he is driving the whole company and driving it to the growth. So we have seen the Clarion deal also, Unival deal also post his joining the company. So we are positive on this, and he has done. He's doing good for the company. Till now, we have seen that the company was not also interacting, was not investor friendly. But now they have started doing the con calls also and started meeting the investors. So he's bringing more transparency to the company, and we believe this should do well. And we have seen the stock impact. So the stock has actually moved from 500 to 800 in recent past. And with this Clarion deal, they have also repaid their debt. So the balance sheets are also strengthened. And we believe that with this green technology overall focus and the reduced debt strengthening of the balance sheet, we expect it to grow steadily from here onwards and expect margins to remain steady. So in the past also, like FY21, when we said the impact was there on the sales degrew by 15%, but the margins have actually improved. So they're focusing on their cost rationalization parameters. The numbers, if you see from FY19 to 20, you see a big dip. That is because they have taken out their what we have shown is the impact of the taken out of their bio business, which they have transferred to Clarion JV. That is why the big dip. If you adjust that, there's actually a growth in FY20. So we are positive on this, and we believe that investors should use the dips to buy the stock. The company is still around trading around 20 times, and we have seen the specialty companies trades around 40 times in recent past. So we have just given 25 times PE, and our target comes to around 1,000 plus. So we are positive on this. Thank you. I request technical team to carry forward. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Runjan. Good afternoon, all of you. This is Swati Hotkar. September month has been a historic and a memorable journey for the benchmark Sensex. Sensex has been shown a very good amount of a rally from 1,000 levels towards the 60,000 level within a span of 31 years. Now it has been interesting point that within a month from 50,000 to 60,000, the Sensex has shown a very great momentum amidst the devastation caused by the coronavirus pandemic, thus demonstrating its remarkable resilience. Now, in the month of the September, almost the index has given more than almost about to 4% percentage gains, which gives a very positive sign. So the last month was a great month, but this month we have started with little bit of a profit booking. We have seen that the Nifty is facing a strong resistance of 18,000 psychological mark. We witnessed a profit bookings at the higher level, and which dragged the Nifty towards near the support levels of 17,700. That was the strong support level for the Nifty, but it has also broke down that support level, and currently we are trading at near 17,500 levels. The overall technical setup, if we look towards the Nifty, we believe that this selling pressure is likely to be continued at least for a one or 2 weeks, which might drag a Nifty towards 13,400 to 13,300 levels. Now, 13,300 level will act as a crucial support level for the Nifty. Probably from there onwards, we might to see some turnaround or say the pullback rally in the Nifty again back towards 17,700 to 17,800 levels. As of now, the view is little bit cautious as long as Nifty stays below 17,700 mark. If it manages to break that level 17,700, which is the currently a small resistance level, if it break that level and maintain a positive closing, say at least for a 1 or 2 days, then we can see a fresh buying position into the market, which might take the Nifty back towards 18,000 levels, and probably again we might get to see the new highs on the Nifty as well. So as of now, the view is little bit cautious. We believe that it's a buy on dips market. If we are getting any dips towards to 17,300 or 17,270 levels, definitely it will we will get an opportunity to buy into the market. But the fresh long positions can be seen only above the 17,700 level. So at the current level, we are witnessing a very good momentum into the stocks basically. As of now, from the last 2 week, we have seen a very good performance by the mid caps and the small caps. So I believe that the one should be remain cautious on the index, but definitely stocks are really doing very well. So one should keep trading into the quality stocks with the strict stop losses. This is the overall view on the market. As a- I just want to finish into the one line that the view is little bit cautious as long as trades above 17,700 level. About at the level only we can see some fresh buying, but definitely it's a buy on deeps market. Any move towards 17,300, one can definitely go for a buying on every deeps. So this is the outlook for the market. Going ahead with the stocks picks, last month we have initiated. Sir, next slide, please. Last month we have initiated two calls, which was on the national aluminum. We have just recommended a buy positions at around 84 levels for a target of 100 level, and we have just achieved that target. The another stock we have emphasized, that is on the HDFC AMC. In this particular counter also we have given a buy call for a target of 3120 levels. So even we have achieved that target also. So those stocks are really performed very well. Now this month we again coming up with the two stocks, that is on the buy side. So next slide, please. Yes, the first call will be on the Cipla. The first call will be on the Cipla. Being a market is little bit cautious, we want to play on the defensive side also. So the first call will be on the Cipla. If we look towards the chart, we can easily point out that this particular counter is just trading in the high top high bottom formation, as well as it is trading in the upward rising channel. This particular counter is just well placed above all the important moving average. So those who look towards the technical charts also, even they can easily find out that the stock is well placed above important moving averages, say 50, 100 and 200 DMA. And it is slowly and steadily it is moving ahead towards the 4-digit numbers. Last week we have seen that the stock has almost crossed thousands level also, but somehow it manages to maintain a closing below that level. But I believe that if the market start correcting, the defensive pack will really perform very well. Those Cipla might gain a very positive momentum in the coming week. I believe one should go for a long position at the current level also. Currently the stock is trading at 984 985 levels. One can take a buy call at the current level. If we are getting any dips towards to 970, one can add on. We are looking for a target of 1060 to 1080 levels on the higher side. So one can just hold their long positions with the strict stop loss of 950. So this is the first peak for the this month. The second peak comes is iBull Real Estate. I believe that this stock is also doing really very well. We have seen, if we look towards the chart also, we have seen a sharp correction into this particular counter from almost 180 levels to 130 levels. I have just drawn a trend line. Just have a look on the chart. That is known as a sloping trend line. And from the last almost 7 to 8 weeks, the stock was just facing a very strong resistance of trend line. But this week, this week we have seen that the stock has given a breakout of trend line with the recent volume. So I believe it has a potential to show a very good rally on the higher side. The interesting fact that on the monthly chart also, that the stock is in the verge of a formation of a flag pattern. As of now, the formation is just building up. Once it manages to give a breakout of that pattern, then definitely over a period of a month also, it might give a great amount of a rally on the higher side. The momentum indicators we look normally, such as RSI showing a positive strength, or say the positive crossover on the daily chart, which gives a sign of that this particular stock is really having a strength in this market. So one can go for a buy call into iBull Real Estate at the current level. If we are getting any dips towards to 142, say 145 levels, one can add on. we are looking for a target of 190 to 195 levels on the higher side, and one can keep a stop loss for 130 levels on the downsides. I think these are the two picks we have given into this that in this month. I think that's it from my side. I request derivative guys to take a call forward.
Yeah, thank you, Swati. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Amit Guptani. So, as per derivatives outlook, in September series, we have seen major buying momentum from the Nifty and Bank Nifty, and also from the stock specific front. Now, coming forward towards the October series, we are seeing that the Nifty September rollover took place on a lower end to its 3-month and 6-month average against Bank Nifty, while Bank Nifty and market wide rollover took place at the higher level. The reason for this is we are seeing that the Bank Nifty stocks we are seeing at the major breakout compared to the PSU counters. While on the private banks, we are seeing that all the private bank stocks are at the major support. So we are expecting a reversal from the supportive levels. So this is the reason why the Bank Nifty rollover is higher than the Nifty rollover, as we are seeing that the Nifty index Nifty is currently into pressure, as we are seeing in the Nifty OI positions. Nifty OI positions were quite higher than its average OI positions. Once this type of situation takes place, when the OI positions are higher than its average OI positions, then there is some sort of negative bias in the market, as we are seeing that the Nifty average OI positions is almost around 1.25 CR, but this month we are seeing that the Nifty average OI positions is around 1.60 CR. So currently in the first half of the month, we might expect some sort of selling pressure in the index specific front, mostly from the Nifty. As we are seeing on the chart which we have shown you, the support which lies currently is at 17,500. Below that, the support is at 17,300. Last 15 days back, we have seen that the Nifty got reversed and completely short covering rally was seen from the 17,300 level towards the 17,900 level. So currently, the nearest support which we might expect to take the strong support in the market would be 17,300 level. Once Nifty breaks and manages and fails to hold 17,300 level, then we might expect the Nifty to drag towards 17,000 level and 16,800 level also. So currently, the scenario looks quite cautious, as we are seeing that the India VIX, which is continuously trading above 18 levels from last 1 week, and it has sustained above 18. So this is also a sign of a cautious point in the market. So in the first half of the month, for next 1 to 2 weeks, we might expect a selling pressure in the market, where from 17,000 to 16,800 level, we might again witness a short covering rally in the index specific front. As compared to the stock specific, the stocks which looks positive as per the rollover analysis are Reliance, Bharti Airtel, IGL, NMDC, SAIL, and Cipla. As we are seeing it from the telecom front of view, we are seeing that the major OI positions are getting added up for the next month also, and all the metal counters has reversed from the average supportive levels. So short covering rally was seen in this week from the metal counters also. This is a real view where we are seeing that the rollover positions are taking place on the short covering front. While on the negative front, we are seeing the stocks which looks negative as per the rollover analysis is on in Exide Industry, Infi, Wipro, Adani, and HUL. So we are seeing from the FMCG front, there is some sort of pressure we might witness in the coming October series. As per the next slide, sir. Yeah, as per the strategies are concerned, we will come up with the two strategies, one on the index front, which will be on Nifty, and second one would be on the stock front. On the Nifty, we might select a long strangle strategy. Currently, we will buy two strikes. First one would be 17,700 call we will buy of 14th October, and 17,300 put we will buy of 14th October. The total premium which will come for this strategy would be around 237 points. The only reason why we are taking this strategy is, like as I mentioned earlier, that India VIX is trading above 18 levels, so volatility will be very high for next 1 to 2 weeks. Once India VIX again come down below 15 level, then we might witness a one-way rally or a trend to be get picked up in the market. But till the time it is trading above 18, we might witness heavy volatility, So any move of 300 points in either direction, we might witness a profit in this strategy. So create along in this strategy, as in the first week, we might expect the range to be created, and in the second week we might expect the range to be break out and again a trend to be selected. So that's the reason why we are selecting the second week strategy. By this strategy, with the total outflow of 237 points, keep stop loss of 100 points on the lower end, and target would be of almost around 400 to 450 points on the higher end. So first strategy which we are coming up, which is a long triangle strategy on the Nifty. Next slide, sir. The second strategy which we will come up, which will be on the stock front. As we are seeing from last 1 week, the auto counters are really performing well, and continuously OI positions are getting added up on the auto counters and auto ancillary counters. As we are seeing that the Tata Motors, we are selecting a strategy for this October month would be Tata Motors. As we are seeing that the Tata Motors is continuously getting consolidated between the range of 300 to 340 marker, and currently we are witnessing the Tata Motors is about to verge on the breakout of 340 marks. So once the Tata Motors gives a breakout of 340, then we will witness a strong rally on the upper end towards the 380 marks in the coming days October series. So we will create a long bull call spread on this Tata Motors. In this strategy, we should buy 340 call at 17 level, and we should sell 380 call at 6.5. The total outflow for this strategy comes at 10.5 points. We should keep stop loss at as a 4, and the target for this strategy, which will be a maximum profit also, is at 29.5 points. The lot size for this Tata Motors stock is at 2850. So currently, overall scenario for this stock, why we are selecting this stock, is like the continuously OI positions are getting added up, and the stock is continuously getting consolidated with the pattern getting formed in the higher end. And this is the pattern which you are seeing in the Tata Motors is a long-term breakout pattern. So currently we are expecting a significant move on the upper end once the Tata Motors gives a breakout of 340 level. So create a strategy on Tata Motor, a bull call spread. Risky traders can also buy a naked call option of 340 calls. So once the Tata Motors break 340, then a naked option of 340 call can also be bought for the target of 360 to 380 levels on the higher end. Thank you. That's it from the derivative front.
Yeah, thanks, technical and derivative team. We'll now take up questions. So first question was there on Canfin Home only, that the stock has run up a bit. So can it be purchased at current time, or should we wait for the decline? So Jian, if you would like to comment, and then if technical team can comment on that.
Right. Yeah. Stock has gone up, but we have to keep in mind that the market itself has more than doubled. So from that perspective, stock has not really run up like the way many other stocks have become multi-baggers. So that's not the case here. And above all, what we should be concerned with is valuation. Currently, valuation is at 2.2 times forward book value, which is cheap. Even if we look at from a historical perspective over last 6-7 year average, if we see, the average will be around 3.3 to 3.5 times, and we are still valuing it at 3 times. So I feel it is at attractive from valuation point of view as well. And so downside is capped at multiple of 2.2 times, while upside is open, how the recovery pans out. So if technical team can also add something on this.
Yes, technically the stock is just trading nearby the overbought zone, and the RSI indicates a negative divergence. I believe looking towards the technical setup, we are likely to witness little bit profit booking, but definitely the overall counter is very strong on the larger degree. If we are getting any dips towards to 640 to 630 levels, between that level, then definitely one can go for a fresh buying position, or we can say the entry level to take a long positions. Upside, yes, definitely we are looking for a target of 740 to 750 on the technical front. So I believe those who are looking for a long positions into this particular in this particular stock, any dips towards to 240 640 levels, one can build up their long positions in and small installments, such as start for buying 20 to 30% at level of 650. If you're getting dips towards to 640, then you can add on. Technically, the support for this particular counter is very strong at around 600 level. So as long as it trades above that level, I believe that it has a potential to reach up to 740 to 750 levels on the higher end. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Swati and Jan. There is another question on Evergrande, that is the property company in China, whether that will have an impact on Indian market. So we had already seen the positive impact of that on the Indian market. How it is positive that the Evergrande crisis has pushed the lot of FII or foreign money which was investing in Hong Kong and China in property market are now moving to Indian market. And we had seen in last post this crisis a run up in the property stocks, though they were fundamentally also are likely to do very well. But this additional money has also come in the property stock in during this time, and can continue to remain and can continue to support the IT real estate sectors in this period. There is another question on real estate only. Two stocks someone has asked about, DLF and Godrej Property. No doubt, both the stock has run up very fast in recent past, and there could be some profit booking along with the market. But overall, direction-wise, quite positive for both the stock. But we like more DLF because Godrej Property has run up very steeply and it's trading at higher multiple. Whereas DLF has a bit underperformed Godrej Property, and there is enough scope for for DLF to catch up to the Godrej Property. So what we are seeing in in DLF is that they are witnessing a very good demand in their key area, that is Gurgaon, wherein they have a very big land parcels of around 5,000 acres, or where they can construct around 20 crore acre, 20 crore square feet of property in next many years. So the land bank is very big for them. Apart from that, they get around 50% of their value from the rental income JV. And there also we are witnessing that though during the COVID period that has got impacted, but now that is seeing revival both on the retail side and housing on the commercial side. Both the sides are seeing revival, and that can add up to the value of the DLF. And apart from that, the core value, the near term also, they are indicating that they will be launching a lot of new projects in the current period, and they had seen a good price increase also in the recent past of around 8 to 10%. So all these factors will support DLF, and what we say that if someone is looking to buy, they can buy a small quantity here and wait for any corrections, or on any dip maybe towards 400 can be accumulated in this DLF. Then I'll request everyone to look at the questions, and whoever find
yes, sir. Vikas here. See, sir, there is three stock: Bharti Airtel, ITC, and Wipro. They want a technical outlook. See, Bharti already retraced the higher levels, and we expect support zone around 650, 660 at downside. So any chance Bharti Airtel trade near the support zone, then we can take a position at Bharti Airtel. And upside again target above 700, 730, 740 in upside, and downside immediate support for Bharti Airtel is 640. ITC also looks positive at current level, and 228 important support zone for ITC, and above immediate resistance for ITC is 240, and if break closing basis, then we expect further momentum towards 250 to 260 level in ITC and upside. Downside 228 is the important support zone. Below that, it will retrace towards 220 to 18 at downside. Wipro trading in negative because trading short-term moving average below, and we expect if Wipro, those want to buy Wipro, they can wait for breakout. Upside breakout is 650. Above 650, you can take a position. Otherwise, wait for buying. Downside, next important support zone place around 620, 614 in downside. So we can expect Wipro remain in pressure next week also. So we can wait for upside breakout. Those want to buy, then buy above 650 levels. Otherwise, it will come down to 620, 615 at downside.
Yes, I will take another question on the Asian Paint. The question is it good idea to sell Asian Paints at 3400C? The view for the Asian Paint currently is the stock is having support at 3140. So once if it breaks 3140 level, then only call options can be shorted at this point of time, because stock is holding very strong support from this level. We can expect a reversal. So wait to create a short on a call option. Once if it break 3140, then only shorting call options can be created at this point of time. The second question is on ZIL for buying a call option. ZIL is currently holding a gap support, so we might witness some selling pressure in ZIL also. Till the time ZIL is not breaking about 310 level, so on a closing basis, for till that point of time, we should avoid buying a call option on ZIL.
There is a question on mid-cap banking stocks. We feel that the stocks which are focused on SME side will continue to be under some pain. For example, stocks like DCB and City Union Bank. So probably whole of FY22 expect asset quality pressure to remain over there. But at the same time, stocks like, let's say, DCB itself, which is trading at around just 0.67 or 0.7 times book value, it's looking quite attractive. But one will have to have a time horizon of 1 to 1.5 years to actually capture the re-rating in these banks. For that matter, even Federal Bank is looking good. But for these kind of banks, if one has a perspective of 3 to 6 months, then probably they will not show much move. But from longer term, definitely the re-rating potential is there.
Yeah.
The two questions on technical. One is on the Crompton. Mr. Sunil has raised that question. Crompton Greaves, definitely technically it looks very strong. The stock is well placed above important moving averages, and it is on the verge of giving a breakout of 500 levels. Friday also we have seen that the stock has just ticked the mark of 503 levels, but somehow it fails to maintain a positive closing. But I believe, yes, definitely one can go for a long position into Crompton Greaves. Currently the stock is trading at 488 levels. Downside, it has a very strong support of 470 levels, which is supported by 50 days moving average. So one can go for a long with a stop loss of a 470. We believe that technically it has the potential to reach up to 520 to 530 levels on the higher side. So overall view on the Crompton is positive. Second one is asking on a technical view on the Lupin. From the last almost from 6 months, we are continuously witnessing a selling pressure in this particular counter. From the month of June itself, we are witnessing a selling pressure. The stock has corrected from almost 1200 levels to 900 levels. Now 900 is acting as a very cluster support levels for this particular counter, and we are witnessing a pullback rally from there onwards. I believe one can go for a long positions, but with a small quantity in this particular stock. Because from the last few days it was just hovering within the range of 920 to 940 levels, and Friday it has given a breakout of that levels with the decent volume. So this pullback rally may be continued towards 1000 levels or 1020 on the higher sides. So it will be a buy call from at the current levels also, but maintain the strict stop loss of a 940 levels on the downside for immediate target of 1000 to 1020 levels on the higher levels. Thank you.
Yeah, someone has asked for the view on the metal stock. So metal, we have a different stocks are behaving in different way because there are a lot of things which has happened in last 1-2 months. That is one of the thing is that coking coal prices, which were running at around $110 in April, has moved up to over $400. So there is a $300 increase that impact the cost of the steel making by almost rupees 15,000 rupees. So suppose if someone is doing EBITDA per ton of say 25,000, it will have a negative impact of 15,000. But on the other hand, the iron ore prices has corrected, so that will give some relief to them. But what has happened with SAIL and Tata Steel, they got their captive iron ore, so they will not be benefiting on iron ore side, whereas the steel the coking coal will hurt them. So the maximum impact of this increase in coking coal is on SAIL and Tata Steel. But this is normally what happens, like coking coal increase in prices are impacting the company over a period of time, as the lead time for coking coal to for transit and storage is almost over 3 months. So that will start impacting in the Q3 to some extent, and Q4 is the main lead. So meanwhile, at current in the current result, that is September, these two companies can keep on reporting better number. And since the cost has increased substantially, the steel price company will try to take steel price increase. So anyhow, there was a news that the SAIL and other companies are trying to take price increase of around 2,000 rupees in October. So if that get through, then that will give some relief, and then steel company can further try for further increase. So apart from that, if we see Jindal Steel and Power, that will also get impacted because of the coking coal in India, but they got a lot of coking coal in international market, their own captive mine. So one in Australia and one in South Africa and one more mine. So no doubt that will not fully meet their requirement into India, but still they will be somehow hedged for the increase in coking coal prices and will not be having such a large impact and will benefit from the decline in the iron ore prices. So, and they had done a lot of restructuring, so they can benefit in this case. Whereas if you take the aluminum company, they are continuing seeing good price increase as well, and the volume is also comparatively strong. So Hindalco and even National Aluminium, which is key manufacturer of alumina rather than aluminum, they manufacture alumina, which is raw material for aluminum. So there the prices in the recent past has increased dramatically. So that is also benefiting them. So different company have a different outlook. No doubt Q2 results are likely to be okay or better. But from Q3 we will see a lot of pressure on their pricing until and unless the selling prices come up, which is stagnant since last 6 months, around 65,000 HRC prices are there. So they are stagnant in last 6 months and they are not moving up, whereas the cost has increased. Then there was a question on Coal India. Someone has asked for the view on the Coal India. The Coal India has performed very well in recent past because of the increase in the international coal prices. What we see that the coal prices increase in the international market is likely to benefit only marginally from two count. One is that their FSA, that is they supply the coal on fixed price on link basis. So there they will not be benefiting. Whereas around 18% of the coal they supply it on auction basis. So that is likely to benefit to the Coal India, and there they are getting around 40% premium to what was the price in last month. So that will start reflecting in Q3 rather than Q2, because whatever the FSA happens now will be dispatched in the next quarter. And apart from that, the major benefit they will be getting is on the volume side. So volume has increased by around 10% in Q2, which is considered good for Coal India. So this is likely to have a positive impact on the Coal India performance in the current quarter. From going forward from here, the volume increase as compared to last year in Q3 will be difficult, will be marginal, maybe 3-4%. If we see the September month only figure, then the volume increase is only 4%, whereas the average for last 3 months was 16%, 10%. So this is because of the higher base, the increase in the volume in the coming quarter will be lesser. So what we see that the price increase which has happened right now is, I think, on the increase from here will take some more time or take more development to happen, then only the price can increase. We expect even the international coal prices also to correct from here now, as the China problem is gradually getting resolved. So it's better not to venture into Coal India at current point of time. If suppose we get a good corrections in the Coal India price, then one can look at the stock for the result. Yeah, anyone else can take up any
There are a couple of questions on BHEL and L&T. So on BHEL, if you see the performance at operational level also has been very poor. Like last quarter also they posted a loss. Order inflow was very poor. And if you look at the business, it continues to face challenges on their legacy orders. Execution is again a problem, and also now margin pressures will be there because of commodity prices. So in the short run, there should not be much expectation. However, on a positive side, if at all there is some news based on divestment or strategic tie-up, then that could drive the stock price. But fundamentally, nothing much to look forward here. On L&T, we have an accumulate call. Basically, going forward, management has guided for 13 to 15% sales growth for FY22, and also similar kind of growth for order inflows, which is positive after many years of single-digit growth. And another positive thing could be going forward the higher oil prices, which could drive more order inflows from the Middle East region, which is a significant portion of their business. So overall accumulate rating on L&T.
So we had already exited time. So 1 or 2 questions more we can take.
Yeah.
Technical or Runjun, if you
Yes,
can
sir.
take it.
Sir, Laurus Lab technical outlook is positive. See, last week already given call on Laurus Lab. We expect positive momentum in this counter because there is RSI momentum indicator showing a positive crossover and upside next immediate resistance for 624, and if break that level, then we expect again 670, 680 in upside, and downside stop loss place around below 595 and 590 level. So we can expect positive momentum in Laurus Lab as a technical outlook.
So that's all from us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, and all the best for next month, and also take care of you and your family. We are not still out of the COVID danger, so we take care of you and your family. Thank you very much.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.